Hey DIY Nation, I want to see you guys build this, or go to my Etsy and buy it if you don't want to do it. Make it happen. I want to see what they look like. Pumpkin. This was the first design I came up with. It definitely looks like an apple. So this is the design I went with. Just added the stem. Really happy with it. Looks great. Looks like a pumpkin. And here are all the tools and supplies we need for this project. So I got my moisture meter. And cedar, when you first get it from Home Depot, is pretty high usually. These I just got 5. It's too high, it's screaming at me. Oh, mid. That one I could use. I'd like it to be under 9. That's crazy. First step, now we're gonna cut the main board. Normally I would set up a stop block because I'm ripping off a bunch of these, but I'm only doing a couple right now, so I just make a little ink saw mark. The max I can get out of this board for the core, just because of all the knots and the imperfections. But I'll be able to use this for my strips, which I will show you. So this is how we keep our board together, but I want to try to get, if I can get one more out of it. Something like that knot. This will work as an edge of the pumpkin, so let's do that. Knot right here, in my way. These knots would be a problem, but I think we can get some more strips out of this. With these strips, we need to cut some strips to keep our 2 boards together back here. Just some 1-inch wide strips, the thickness of this. And they're on the back, so they don't need to be perfect, which is perfect because this is scrap. You always want to set your saw blade just above your piece. Saves the sharpness. Those things that have shot all the way across the room before shouldn't because of the writhing blade. Enough for 2 boards right there. Set these aside for more strips. We'll cut those, but let's stay right there. I'm gonna trim my pieces. Forgot what I was doing. These are 5.5 wide this way. Anywhere from 5 to 5.5. Total height of my pumpkin, I want to be 2 boards, that total 10.5. So if I left it as is, I would have an 11-inch-ish. So to get 10.5, I need 2 5.25. It's about the only math I'm good at. I'll pick the side I want. I can get rid of this knot, almost. Yeah, because I want to use this imperfect edge as the top of my pumpkin. Here we go. That should be 10.5. Look at that. This will be our board. And these will go, this is the back. So these will go like that, but you can see when we cut out our pumpkin, we're going to have to cut out the supports too. So we'll just have to be aware of that when we add the brads. I'm using 220. It's just a grit I have a lot of, and it doesn't really eat away. You can see it leaves some cool texture. Sanded and unsanded. See the fuzz? It's just a real quick knockdown, but this is baby butt smooth. This is the back, but I still like to sand. I had one unfinished edge. These are nice and smooth from the table saw, and you won't see it. This you'll see, so I just hit it quick. So the nice thing about sanding both sides is design's pretty fluid. So I might get over there to put it together and realize, oh, I like this side better, or it'll fit together better or something. So a lot of guys don't finish the back of things. I like to, unless it's going against a wall, but even then, yeah. Spacer right here, I just line it up at the edge. About a 1/4 inch on the top and bottom. What I like to do is add my top to, just check to make sure everything's still in place, and then pull these together. You could clamp them, or just so they stay nice and tight until I get it braided in. And the glue's gonna hold it. The brad's just hold it in place until the glue dries. That's our board. It's our back of our board. I need 3-inch long strips for the back. I need 2 per board. I made a 3-inch mark because it doesn't have to be perfect. Did you hear that, Eric? Doesn't have to be perfect. Who said that? It does. So I'll have to add these after the pumpkin because they need to sit here and here. Just be easier once the pumpkin is cut out to place this where it needs to be. 3 flat surfaces. And every pumpkin's unique, so if there's variation in that looks cool. Let's cut it out. Just gonna get the inksol marks off. Dowel, 1/2-inch Forstner bit for this bottom piece. I know it's 3 inches, so just gonna go center. Just eyeball it. I want to go like that deep, just not all the way through. Doesn't matter if you do, but I like to not go that deep. I usually go to the thickness of the Forstner bit, and that's about right. We'll glue this in place, and I'll show you what it does. Just want it parallel with the bottom, so I brought it all the way to the edge of the table. And I can see this line and this line. We're gonna have a wall hanger too, if they want to hang it on the wall. So I think what I'll do is make a spacer, because I want this to be level with this. So if I had a squared spacer, something like this, or that has a square edge, it's about perfect, honestly. But I'm gonna square this off and use it. Pegs for the stand, just 3 inches like everything, keep it simple. But after I'm all done, I'm gonna come back and put one of these on there so you can hang it on the wall. But this is for the peg, so you can lean it on a table. So then, again, this is nice and square. So it's flush here, means it's gonna be 90 degrees that way. What did I say, 1 inch? And then every 2. Now we got to cut our strips to give it that little lip. Home Depot, if you don't want to do everything I'm about to do, you can get a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch dowel for $1. Get a 3/8 inch. I would rip this one in half. I'm going to show you, because I already have 1/4 inch stock somewhere. We're going to be cutting some small pieces. 1/4 inch stock, 1/4 inch strips. So there's a couple different ways we can do it. This gap for a tiny piece. If I was doing a 1/4 inch piece, it's just gonna drop in there. It's not really safe. So instead of making one real quick, I'm just gonna use some tape. So the first way you can do it is to actually set it a 1/4 inch on your stop. For a really easy way, if you want it to be the exact thickness, just set the piece in up against the fence and slide it over. So it's exactly the same. So one way to do it is, I will show you. And I've used this for skinny stuff before, so it's super thin, but you need a skinny push block. Another way is just grab a piece of wood. I'll do push block first. And that's what I just made is what you can buy. Or if you don't have a push block, this works great. Just let it go right over. I'll show you. You can see that line right there. Go right over the saw blade. Nice and safe, not sketchy at all. I still like the method I'm most familiar with. So this is how thick I need the piece to be. So I just make a line and then I bring it over to the fence, line it up nice. And then I move on to the feather board. You want the non-feather side up against the piece, the hard side. Once you get it lined up and set, you can go for it. So there we are, setting up the hard side of the feather board. There's our first cut. And then you simply put the piece up against the featherboard, adjust the fence, rip your next piece. And you keep doing that until you can't cut any more strips. I tell my guys, anybody that works for me, that this is red because it's the color of blood. Which means just simply don't put your fingers anywhere near this red part. 3/4 inch 23 gauge pin nails. So I decided this line is pretty clutch, so everything to line up with that line. I'm gonna do a flush on one end, the left side, just so I only have to trim the right. Again, the pins are just holding it until the glue dries. Glue's your friend. Use my glue brush. They come with this end. Put a little cloth on it. So this is hand slow. It follows the contour nice. Now let's use the oscillator Lacum. I'm gonna go cut these. Ish. We're trimming them, they just need to be longer than the board. So again, you can see the difference. Get the squeeze out before it sets. So you can see I'm flushing the bottom edge so I get a little lip so the letters sit in there. That's it.
Yeah.
This is the design we landed on. It's a little bit different, but I like how we incorporated the stem into the board. And we're gonna take these, we got them all assembled. We're gonna move on to painting. But before we do that, I'm gonna dry brush orange, but I want a little bit of accent color on the stem. So I'm just gonna take, always have ebonizing solution around. So here we go. I'm just gonna ebonize the stem, and it's just gonna add enough vintage, dark, reclaimed look to it. The cedar ebonizes so well. It'll be a nice dark gray, blackish. And then I'm gonna dry brush orange over top. See, this one's getting darker. Looks cool. We're gonna move on to dry brushing the pumpkins orange. It's basically just adding paint to your brush and then dabbing out as much as you can and doing kind of a nice dry brush. Pretty excited. Dry brush is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's just a dry brush. Okay, so what I do, just use a acrylic craft paint, using pumpkin orange, using a chip brush, it's a 1 inch. And what you wanna do is get some paint on it and then just dab out a lot of the paint. So your bristles are coated but dry, if that makes sense. And then you'll see how we're just adding a little bit of color and it'll get thicker on the edges, which makes for a cool effect right there. And then it's just on to getting all the color evenly dry brushed on the pumpkin. What's cool is the more uneven it is, the cooler it looks. Yeah, see, look at that already. If you got heavier strokes here, it just adds so much fun. And not one of these pumpkins is gonna be identical, but very similar. Very cool. Very? and cool are the words of the day, apparently. The harder you push on the brush, the more paint you're gonna get. The lighter you push, the less paint. As you're brushing and the paint's coming off, you can push harder to fill in any gaps that you see. It just adds more color as you apply pressure to the bristles. But we want it nice and light. Oh, looks pretty good. See how there's this white strip right there? Just gonna go back and as it dries, you can go add color, paint a happy little tree right here. So that's all I would have to do, but I'm thinking on a table, I don't want people to see this profile, so unpainted anyway. I'm gonna go ahead, just add a tiny bit of orange color. I should feel like Bob Ross as I'm talking here. Wish I had one of those things to clean my brush with. And again, nobody's gonna see the back. It's so hard for me not to do it, but I want at least that edge finished on both sides. I think I'll leave that. That'll be against a wall. Gosh, it's hard for me not to paint that, but it's just extra time and unnecessary. But I'm probably gonna do it. What is it? Anybody else have a hard time not finishing the back of a project? This feels unfinished, but you know, it's gonna be against a wall. I guess on a table. Just didn't like the, if I blend, yeah, there we go. Blended a little bit.
Blended, that looks good.
Cool. There are 100 pumpkin designs, free templates online, but if you want this exact pumpkin, link below. Hey, if you wanna see more videos like this pumpkin, subscribe. Like us. Like me.
No.
Like me. If you want to see more fun videos like this pumpkin, subscribe and like this video. Yeah, I made this so I could decorate one of my big charcuterie boards, you know, put beef Wellington or whatever might be on the charcuterie board. But great hostess gift this time of year. Bring one of these babies and say thank you. Or love the Stavnesses. Who's that friend in your life that just can't get enough vanilla, cinnamon, pumpkin spice, nutmeg? Love them. This would look great at your next festival tent, you know? Welcome, pumpkin. This would look great out front of your tent at the next festival, saying, welcome, buy my crap. This will look great at your next event. Hey, you're having an office party? Boom, pumpkin spice, baby. Yeah, I could see this at an RV park. No, I could see this at an office party, restaurant. You know, why not at the hostess table? It's kind of cute, like that. Where else could we see it? Could be like the Travelocity gnome. Take it with you wherever you go. Say, I'm in London, pumpkin. Miss my pumpkin, thinking of you. I don't know. I gotta build. Mommy made me mash my M&Ms. Me ma, me ma. This is this is the, you want to see a video on ebonizing? Boop, check that out.